Imagine having everything, then suddenly losing. On February 8, 2026, a new power couple was to be crowned. Cardi B, the loudest hype queen in the world, was prepared to take the throne alongside Stefon, the star of the New England Patriots. At Levi's Stadium, Diggs wore a Super Bowl 60 outfit. In the months leading up to their son's birth, we saw them perform in public, on boats during Paris vacations, and just. The Seattle Seahawks won the ring, but as the clock reached zero, another kind of explosion was happening behind the scenes. The unthinkable happened in an hour of. Cardi and Diggs are totally gone. Through social media, heart emojis and new chapter captions are out. Digital quiet is icy. Nevertheless, at exactly 4:40 p.m., one door in a locker room in Santa Clara slammed, while another opened in the most famous way possible. When the one and only JC texted, everyone was in mourning over Card's relationship. It was more than just a "how are you" text. The sample of her popular song Imaginary Players Is that was approved was a career-defining moment. Is it a coincidence that the biggest billionaire in hip-hop gives Seti the most assistance right after she loses her partner? Will she be a member of the elite at last? Rock Nation circle and getting away from the drama caused by toxic athletes. The busiest 48-hour period in music history is being examined today. Offsets are insignificant. I won the lap. The rumors of cheating in the locker room that shut down everything, as well as the secret business methods that suggest Cardi B is becoming more than just a rapper and is instead becoming Jay-Z's most significant protege. Not only has the Little Miss drama age begun, but it is already taking the world by storm. Wear your seatbelts then. On February 8, 2026, the world's attention was focused on at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. There was more to this than a football game. It was hip-hop royalty's last stand against sports domination. The New England Patriots standout wide receiver Stefon Diggs was on one side preparing for the most significant game of his career. Cardi B, who is his partner and is a global celebrity who was waiting in the luxurious suites to be his most devoted partner. In order to create what seemed to be a solid connection with Diggs, Cardi had spent months removing herself from the poisonous public wreckage of her marriage to Offset. The industry was celebrating the arrival of a new power duo. But as history has shown, any foundation founded on is usually susceptible to a disastrous collapse when it comes to public demonstrations of affection and carefully groomed Instagram captions. It was inevitable that Cardi B's dream of the perfect new chapter would turn into a public nightmare during Super Bowl 60. At the beginning of the game, there was a scary tension on the screen. Usually the loudest and most animated fan at any event, Cardi was remarkably silent. She was approached by a reporter who wanted to give Stefon a quick shout-out about before the coin toss. Instead of her trademark charm, the song "That's My Baby," she responded with a cold, flat-to-word statement. Without looking back, we took the energy from the ring home and departed. The first warning sign was that something had already broken behind the scenes, and the internet knew it. It lacked a heart. It was not passionate, as if she were fulfilling a contractual obligation, rather than assisting the guy she loved. However, it became painfully clear why she was behaving so coldly as the evening went on. Other ladies were present. Anyone aside from Cardi has a stake in the Patriots' standout receiver in the stadium. According to leaked sources, one of Stefon Diggs' prior baby mothers was spotted in the front row with a child in tow, wearing a customized Diggs jersey, in a display that demonstrated architectural disdain. Consider the psychological impact. A lady like you has given a guy your support, your allegiance, and a soul to have him openly share his tumultuous past on the biggest platform in the world. But when a woman by the name of Pry famously dated Card's ex-husband, the contempt went beyond family ties too. Offset was allegedly spotted using a key card that the team had given him into the Patriots' hotel's protected grounds. The rumors sped up. For Cardi, this was the height of treachery. When their new partner is connected to the same bands that caused them pain in their prior marriage, few people could tolerate the degree of gaslighting that takes place. Over the course of the game, the New England Patriots began to lose. The man who on the pitch, Stefon Diggs, who was meant to lead the attack, was a shadow. He seemed distracted, ill-prepared, and completely out of step with the plan. The turmoil of his personal life seems to have finally eclipsed his professional performance. The Seattle Seahawks were in complete control of the field, which culminated to a devastating and resounding defeat of 29-13. Diggs was losing his loved ones in addition to the game and music. Cardi B didn't wait till the final siren at all. During Bad Bunny's halftime performance, she briefly made an enthusiastic appearance before vanishing from the stadium. Instead of waiting in the tunnel to console him or posting a consoling message on social media, she did neither. She went straight into blackout mode. After the game ended, the digital guillotine toppled within an hour. Cardi B's and Stefon Diggs' Instagram unfollowing of each other was immediately noted by fans. In the age of digital branding, this is the equivalent of a public divorce file, but perhaps more harmful were the rumors that followed. Within an hour of the game's conclusion, unverified rumors began to emerge that Diggs had been discovered bringing a female best friend into his hotel room, instead than reflecting on his Super Bowl loss. Reports state that Cardi spent over $1.2 million on Super Bowl weekend, which was supposed to be the season's high point and included everything from private security to a massive triumph afterparty. In a final act, she triumphed above everything. The celebration, both literally and symbolically, was finished. The society began to scrutinize the chronology. Cardi had given birth to their kid just 2 months earlier on November 4, 2025. She had been shielding Diggs from a mountain of legal and personal issues during that time. After an incident in December 2025, Diggs was charged with significant felony strangulation, despite the fact that she was still in the postpartum period, which is when women are most at risk. The accusations clouded their relationship, but he denied them. It was also discovered that he had fathered for children with different women, according to Cardi had listened to the fans' warnings, recognized the danger signs, and even set a strict boundary for loyalty in 2025 alone. However, she made the decision to trust him. "Let me heal you" ended up becoming the most significant marketing gimmick in hip-hop couples history. Offset. As the repercussions continued, Cardi's former partner decided to take a victory lap. Cardi's two-word social media message was perceived as spiteful by many, but in actuality, it had humbled. "I prevailed." Finding a better or safer man was something she had tried to prove to the world. But she found herself in a predicament that might have been even more precarious than the one she had been in before. The story of Out of the Frying Pan and Into the Fire and was being written in real time by every blog and commenter on the internet. People were questioning Cardi's judgment in addition to mocking the separation. They were curious as to how a woman of her caliber, riches, and influence could still be attracted to the same kind of man who values diversity over loyalty. However, when the 48-hour mark following the separation drew near, the atmosphere shifted. Cardi B didn't just lay in bed and cry. She didn't vent her frustrations in the middle of the night via an Instagram live outburst. Instead, she went into her business, which is the one thing she has always had total control over. While Offset was busy trolling from his living room, Cardi's phone buzzed with a notice that would reset everything. Diggs was preparing to appear in court, the 13th of February for arraignment. It was 4:44 p.m. that the well-known Jay-Z was well known for. Snorts, the King of New York, had been in touch with the wealthy businessman who doesn't usually get engaged in celebrity rumors. It wasn't merely a business transaction. Imaginary Players, her latest single, had a sample that he had formally cleared. This cosign came from the industry's top brass. For Cardi B, the rapper's wife, this was a sea change and the start of Cardi B, the mogul. She understood that although Diggs and Offset were attempting to play chess with her emotions, she was using her heritage to play chess. She realized that she shouldn't squander her social capital on men who didn't respect her time or her peace. She organized her Little Miss Drama tour dates, purchased a $500,000 watch for herself, and prepared to play in Palm Springs. It was not the loss in the Super Bowl, but the weight she needed to shed to eventually make successful. Diggs' claim of healing was a lie, but Jay-Z's influence was real. Rather than waiting for a seat at a man's party, Cardi B chose to construct her own table, and Jay-Z was the first to pull up a chair. In the 48 hours that followed, you need to look at what happened. If you want to understand Cardi B's true determination, her relationship with Stefon Diggs was digitally executed. Cardi was undergoing a major transformation while everyone else was busy delving into the adultery rumors and laughing at Offset's insignificant comments on social media. She realized she had been giving away free fame and emotional support for the past 2 years to men who viewed her music more as a trophy than a partner. Although she attended the Super Bowl, it was more than just a football match. It was the final funeral for her old way of thinking. She had had enough of her soul being frozen for a man who was unable to maintain his hotel room. As discreet as the encouraging girlfriend in the stands, her next move was a whole transformation of the industry, not just a change. A message that disabled the gossip logs. This transformation began with noise. It's like being Ned in the music business when a Jay-Z sample is cleared by the monarch himself. The announcement was made at exactly 4:40 for p.m. that the sample for her new hit song, Ainery Players, had been approved by Jay-Z. He doesn't just give his blessing to anyone. He protects his catalog with the same ferocity that he does his billion-dollar company. The fact that Jay-Z approved the sample a flip of his 1997 hit song Imaginary Player was a premeditated statement. The world was shown that Cardi B was a valued asset rather than a distraction by the ultimate industry cosign, which came at the same week that Card's personal life was being dragged through the dirt. What? It's too beautifully scheduled for approval at 444 to be a coincidence. Hip-hop legend claims that Jay-Z's album 444 is his most sensitive and mature work. He talked about his career from a street hustler to a global entrepreneur and his own marital faults in it. By reaching out to Cardi, Jay-Z was behaving more like a mentor than a peer. He was showing her that was outgrowing the fictional actors in her life right now. There is no way to combat men who seem morally bankrupt but have a rich soul. Instead of revenge, this was an act of elevation. They cheated on Cardi B and was quickly replaced by Cardi B, who is now officially associated with Jay-Z. A major turning point in Card's career has been reached with this new collaboration. She was run by people who, for years, kept her informed about the controversy surrounding rappers. But while she was still dealing with the fallout from her connection with Stefon Diggs, she began to relate to the Roc Nation ideology. Quiet power, smart releases, and high-value branding are the main elements of the Roc Nation style. Cardi was completing the launch of Grow Good Beauty, her hair care line. She knew her brand and her bank account were the only things that would never betray her, cheat on her, or make a mistake on the largest platform in sports. Offset spent time attempting to trend on Twitter while Diggs prepared for his February 13th court appearance to face felony strangulation allegations. The song itself served as the manifesto for this new era, Imaginary Players. The culture of toxic athletes and rappers who exploit women like Cardi to boost their own social capital was directly targeted. More than just money is discussed in Card's songs. Additionally, they talk about the distinction between possessing it and seeming to have it. She was criticizing males who want their brand to have the Cardi B effect, but who don't want to offer the same kind of loyalty as Cardi B. She was starting to get into the billionaire circle when she started using Jay-Z's track. She preferred to be seated at the table where actual decisions are made, rather than being the queen of the lady of a locker room or the trap house. The public, however, questioned if she had ever been on Jay-Z's crew. Their relationship is more than simply business, even if she hasn't signed a traditional recording contract with Roc Nation. This cooperation is both intellectual and strategic. As per the sources, Cardi has gotten guidance from Jay-Z on how to handle her vast fortune and keep afloat as a single mother in the shark-infested music industry. Cardi received the keys to the kingdom from Jay-Z when he cleared that sample. He did, however, also witness a woman who was being tormented by fictitious players. He witnessed the same raw, unfiltered hustle and tragedy that he experienced in the 1990s. In essence, it was his way of telling the guys to stop fighting and come build with the legends. This elevation instantly affected her public image. Jokes about her fumbling with Diggs or worse than Offset stopped being humorous all of a sudden. You can't mock a woman who is currently hip-hop's most significant figure. Cardi's behavior changed. High-fashion editorials and strategic business announcements replaced the noisy, chaotic Instagram lives. Instead of responding to the drama, she was outshining it. She realized that Diggs was a distraction from her true calling in life. With Jay-Z's help, she realized she was the team's genuine owner after working as his cheerleader for months. She also had to reinterpret her planned Little Miss Drama tour from one about her personal scandals to one on her professional dominance to accommodate the adjustment. She repositioned the drama as a business tool rather than a way of life through Her statement to her supporters on the opening night in Palm Springs on February 11th, "Yes, my life is a movie, but I'm the director, the producer, and the lead actress," served as evidence. Instead of being a sad woman, she entered the stage as a corporate behemoth. The audience saw a victor instead of a victim when she played imaginary players for the first time, just 48 hours after the split. At the conclusion of this story, we see Cardi B, who is finally unconcerned. She's not searching for Diggs' location or replying to Offset's tweets. The 440 for theory of legacy and growth is her main area of interest. She has opted for the boardroom's clarity rather than the chaos on the sidelines. The fictitious players are now a thing of the past, thanks to Jay-Z's approval and her own steadfast will. That Super Bowl loss was the catalyst for the greatest comeback in female rap history. Cardi B didn't just lose a lover, she found her reign. It is clear that the world has been ignoring this for the past 10 years. On February 11, 2026, Cardi B stood under the bright lights of the Acre Arena in Palm Springs, defying expectations that she would escape into a dark room and bemoan the split with Stefon Diggs. Only 48 hours had passed since the Super Bowl split. The Little Miss drama began on this particular night. Tour, which was more than just a concert. It was a public declaration of independence. Cardi was busy guiding 20,000 screaming admirers, rather than someone who had recently lost a romantic partner. She seemed to have finally shed the burden that was keeping her from realizing her full potential. While Stefon Diggs was reportedly